In political terms, the West German era lasted roughly 41 years. In pottery terms, the golden age of West German pottery was roughly 30 years, give or take a couple. And it represented possibly the greatest outpouring of creativity in a 30-year period in the history of art pottery. Possibly in, well, maybe not the history of art. We did have that little period called the Renaissance, but it was an amazing period nonetheless. But when you consider the historical context, the pottery they created is almost the least of the story. Let's not forget that little thing called World War II. And by the end of that war, German cities were in ruins, many of them. The people of Germany had gone through not just the war, but more than a decade of repression by the Nazis before the war. And the Nazis were not really big on artistic freedom. So art and just about everything else in Germany was repressed for say from about 1924. I think that was when they forced the pottery school of the Bauhaus to close, up until 1944. But then you'd, of course, get some pretty rough time after the war. What became the zone period up until 1949, when East-West became the distinction. So how do you get an outpouring not just of art, but of rather upbeat art? You didn't get more things like The Scream by Munch. You got, in 1954, the Russia 313 form, which was sleek, modern, whimsical. It was just lovely and fun. And that is not what was going on around people in Germany at that point. For many of them, they, like a lot of people in London, they were walking by ruins every day. Now, on the plus side, we did have the Marshall Plan. I mean, it was, as far as I know, the first time victors successfully recognized that war is more a political thing than a social factor. It's a matter of power, leaders, not so much the people of any of the countries involved. So the Marshall Plan financially helped Germany rather than taking the usual, approach of trying to further crush and humiliate your enemy. Lincoln wanted to do much the same thing after the Civil War. Well, he didn't succeed because he was, of course, shot not long after the war. So this was the first time we had both somebody who believed in it and managed to make it happen. But, that helped the business. But how do you find, out of all of that, the desire to do positive art, uplifting art. A lot of the Ngobi designs, also by Rusha, by Kito, Kishley, were, soothing. They borrowed a lot from Japanese Zen art. And it was beautiful. It was popular. And it did, the art grew from there. You got a lot of, sort of stronger geometric designs later. But it was rooted in a desire to grow, to overcome not just the bombings, but the entire experience of the previous 20, 25 years. It was not merely a financial success. It was a refusal of the human spirit to be crushed. And some of these designers had served in the war, and they came back from the war and chose to create beauty. And we need to remember that. It was art therapy for an entire country. And if we look at it that way, it becomes art therapy for us as well, a reminder of some of the positive things that art has the power to do. Art, make you think, and it can help you heal. And that, thankfully, was their choice after the war. And man, I am impressed. I hope you'll take a closer look at the wide variety of pottery, not all of which is all of that happy. They did some darker things. They did some things that are challenging. But they healed. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you'll check out the channel. And I neglected to say, please subscribe, click thumbs up button, click the notification bell, and tell your friends. And there will be a link for Buy Me a Coffee if you feel like supporting this channel in a direct economic manner. I'll talk to you later.